Alright, we're going to check out this 3X magnifier by Feyachi today. Link will be in the description if you want to check it out. So it comes in this box like so. There's your screen right, instructions, and it's really well padded in here. It's got this real thick, very hard to tear styrofoam stuff in it. Form fit there, as you can see. So obviously I already have it out and on the rifle there, but it come packed in there with everything you need, wrapped in this bubble wrap here, tools and whatnot, base. Now this has an adjustable height to align with different size sights and mount heights. I'll throw that up on the screen now. So the way you would change it, it comes with this little shim plate here. So I showed the stock height and then also the height you can raise it to with this. So you would just, where it bolts to the arm here, you would just put this shim under it to get a little higher height if you needed the height higher. Now this is a little bit of a wonky setup. I want to go ahead and throw that out there before everyone's like, what the heck were you think? Yeah, I know, it's just to test out the product today. Also, you would want to use one of these. It'd be better off suited with a, a cylindrical type red dot like what this looks like, as opposed to one of these reflex style sights, but it still works on one of this. Also, this is actually the only sight I had that was high enough, because my regular Bushnell TRS-25, there was no riser plate for it. It just attached straight to the Picatinny rail here. And so it was only like that tall, so it would not line up with this at all. But this sucker does. And then obviously you guys are probably familiar. You see, even with that Bushnell TRS-25, if I put the appropriate riser under it, it would line up with this magnifier no problem. But as I said, I know the setup looks wonky. It's just to test out the magnifier, nothing else, and then the stuff's coming right back off this rifle. So, it's hanging off the front and all that. But we got it both mounted up there so we can test this thing out. So I'll tell you, this thing's actually pretty hefty. I don't take, weight as a bad thing, because generally it means it's made a little better. There's no real play. There's like the very smallest amount of play, which you're going to have some because of this joint here. It's hard to hear even if I rattle it, but it's like a fraction of a millimeter. There is slight play, but I was surprised. It's actually pretty well built. It's not sloppy. There's your lever in the front, so you can swing it in and out. You just depress the lever, and then you can flip it up, and it locks. And then the same thing, depress the lever, and then you can flip it up out of your way, and it locks. So like I said, pretty heavy construction. It's not real sloppy or anything like that. The button works well. Real nice hardware it comes with. They seem to be pretty well made. It doesn't seem like those cheap screws that if you put too much torque on it, they're just going to strip out and whatnot. And you can mount this either way, so you can flip this around and then detach this and flip it around. So if you want it to flip off to the right side like I have it there, you can do so, but you can also switch things around and have it flip off to the left side if you want. For those who aren't aware, the magnifier, it's basically like a scope, but for your red dot. So you can use your red dot, and then if you need more magnification for like, 100, 200 yard shots or whatever, and we'll take this thing down to the rifle range and take some longer shots with it, you'll flip your magnifier over in front of your red dot, and then it zooms you in just like a scope. Alright, so I don't think it's going to make a whole bunch of difference close range like this, but I'll do a mag without the magnifier there, and then with it. Now, it may not seem like it, but from standing behind this bench here, my rangefinder, link in the description if you want to get yourself a good budget option rangefinder. Had this for years, works great. But all these targets here in the front, it says it's 10 yards. And then that very back one, that little tiny square, that one's 20 yards back. So it's probably not going to help me out on these close range ones here at 10 yards, but back there at 20 yards, this should help me focus in on that little square one a little faster.
We'll be shooting at longer distances in just a moment.
As you see, some of those being difficult, don't want to knock over. I mean, it's a rimfire, so it doesn't have enough energy to knock all of them over like a 9mm would. So that was with and without. It did seem to take a little longer for these close ones like I suspected, because you're not going to want any magnification for only 10 yards. Back there at 20 yards, not sure if it really made a difference, but we'll take her out on the rifle range and try some farther shots. I mean, ideally, you're not going to flip this thing over till 100 yards or such anyways, probably longer, so it's kind of pointless out here on the pistol bay, but I just wanted to start here to get it set up.
Sorry about the stupid tripod here. All the previous shots were without the magnifier. All shots going forward are with the magnifier. So I switched to ammo here and I was having to readjust the red dot so it would hit point of aim with the new ammo. When you switch ammo, usually it'll hit in a different spot, especially if the velocity is different like it was here. But I had all shots on target just as fast as I did there after adjusting the red dot, but I forgot to record it. So having the magnifier did help me shoot faster and more accurately at 100 yards. Most of those were hits anyways, you just couldn't hear it because I was shooting so fast.
Alright, initially I thought I was going to be giving this thing a bad review because it's supposed to be a 3-power magnification, right? And when I started, it just looked like maybe a 1.5x, 2x at most. Like, it barely offered any magnification. But shooting out here at the rifle range, I noticed like the dot looked blurry in there, so then I started messing with this diopter here to try to get it to be more clear. And as I was doing that, the picture getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm guessing it's my eyes, that if it was within focus it would have looked larger to me, but all I can tell you is that spinning this a bunch to get it to where it looked the best to me, it zoomed in greatly, and it actually does look like 3x right now. And on that note, it's still, the dot is a little blurry.
Rambled on too long about this, so I'm doing a quick voiceover. As I said in the beginning of the video, ideally you'd use a tube style red dot, so you'd be able to put the red dot much closer to the magnifier there, so I think that would greatly help. Also, that is a cheap optic. I think it's like 40 bucks or something like that on the front there. So a higher end red dot is probably going to have a finer dot, so it'd probably look better through there as well. But also factor in that that is not the appropriate red dot to put in front of one of these magnifiers. You want one of the cylindrical type red dots, that way you can butt them up close together.
But anyways, once I messed with this diopter to get it adjusted to where it looked right for me, then it did in fact look like 3x. So assuming that that's going to occur with everyone, whether it's you have it all the way in like this because you have perfect vision or whatever, or you have to come out quite a bit like me because you really need glasses, I'm going to assume that once you actually have it set correctly for your eyesight, that it's going to actually give you a pretty decent magnification like it advertises there. Also wanted to mention, you see these little caps here. If for some reason when you line your red dot with this magnifier here, if it does not, like if your dot is high, left, right, whatever, you can actually adjust this glass or what have you in here to where it'll align correctly with your red dot. Mine lined up fine, no issue whatsoever. It's right in the middle just like it should be. But should you have that issue, this is adjustable just like the red dot and just like the scope. So if it's not quite lining up right on your rail, you can have up and down range of adjustment here and windage left and right as well. And it's kind of cool, they got like a little screwdriver on the back of the cap, so you can, don't hear any clicks, but I can feel bumps, so you can adjust that if you need to. But I didn't have to. It was dead center for me. Keep in mind, that's not to sight in your red dot. You sight in your red dot up here Obviously with its controls, that's just for if some reason your rail's crooked or something like that, and when you look through the magnifier it's not quite center, you can mess with it there to get it centered for you. But that's going to do it. Like I said, once I found out to mess with the diopter, then it actually did look like a true 3x magnification. Like I said, it seems to be built really well. Glass is pretty clear and whatnot. I got a little blur on that red dot, but like I said, this is a real cheap red dot here and not ideal. You should be using a tube type, and you know, so. And like I said, it could just be my eyes because I certainly do need glasses, and for all I know I have astigmatism, I don't know, but even with that, it still was no issue. 100 yards easy. But thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, link in the description if you want to check it out. That'll do her, and I hope to see you on the next one.